Hello everyone, Attack Power here with another deck building video, hopping in to what appears to be one of the top tier decks in the meta right now, 4th Canadian Armored. Let's dive right in here. If you enjoy this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more Steel Division 2 and Warno content, and consider checking out that YouTube membership for early access, comments, and cool emojis and such. All right, so diving in here, 4th Canadian, definitely not one of the divisions that stood out immensely during the preview season. I certainly don't think people thought like, oh, this is a bad deck. But, I mean, truth be told, it kind of just looked like, for the most part, a Commonwealth division that happened to get lots of Fireflies at the end of the day. But it's really shaken out to be a lot more than that, and especially in this medium tank light armor meta, this division has really come to truly shine with its ability to counter heavy tanks at really cost-efficient prices, getting access to Kangaroo rifles, which are a really solid Commonwealth infantry in general, lots of artillery, and just being, again, one of those divisions that doesn't have any notably crushing weaknesses, which again automatically kind of puts this division into A tier. Whether it's all the way up in S tier, that's up for you to decide. I know either way I say it, someone in the comments will tell me how wrong I am, and that's fine. I'd probably, based on how often I'm seeing this being played and how well it appears to perform in game, I would put it maybe scratching at S tier. Although, again, I don't know if it's as dominating to a point where I'm like, oh, this is definitely S tier. It's definitely not, broken. And there's not a lot of divisions anymore that are truly broken like that. So it's hard to even put many divisions in S tier, I feel, these days, because there's not really any that are so crushingly above the curve that you can't help but say, wow, this division is just way, way too good in every way. But this division certainly is very strong. Let's dive in here. Recon tab, phenomenal. I mean, you get so many options here. And it's not a small recon tab. It's not huge. It's not like bristlingly gigantic, but it does have some great options here. So the things we are taking, the Scout SAR, it's basically an infantry squad for only 20 points to get essentially a full infantry squad. Yeah, 10 men would be a full, but 8 is pretty close. Having all the usual recon infantry, you get a Piat as well, which again is not anything exciting, but it's AT, right? It's AT that sneaks around. And anytime you can get AT attached to recon or something, you do generally want to take advantage of that. The ability to sneak, and this being able to defend itself at least somewhat well, makes it really good. And for 20 points, you wouldn't often leave a 20-point infantry squad that built like this behind just because of that AT stuff. But really it's the stealth, of course, and the recon that does it for it. Not incredible availability or anything. Just bringing in the white truck. It's one of the faster things here. There. Then also in A phase, we're bringing 2 cards of Sherman 5 SARs. These are just Shermans. There's nothing particular. Sherman 5 specifically with the 100 millimeters of frontal armor. There's anything particularly special about these, and the fact they have recon and radio on them, which is excellent. I'm not taking that away from them. I don't think they actually cost any more than a normal. No, they cost the same as a regular Sherman. Maybe they're a little slower or something. I honestly don't see what. Nope, they're identical. Just double checking my facts here. Same number of machine guns, same armor, speed. Yeah, just higher optics. And that's the only difference. So hard not to take these. I mean, this is just straight better than a regular Sherman because you get radio and recon with it as well. So this can then independently move around. You don't need infantry to spot for it and stuff. So yeah, it gets the exact same availability curve. I am taking them 1 vet. 2 vet is nice for them, but I would like to make sure I have plenty to throw around. But yeah, you could double vet if you don't feel like you need that many in A phase. B phase, I am bringing a card of Recce here. I like having infantry recon, and having the extra is actually really helpful. Even with the Shermans around, they aren't like... The Sherman SARs are not for like actually sitting around and gathering intel. They're more for being aggressive and supporting your pushes because they can see with their recon optics. So the Recce are nice to have to actually be able to spot around. These have the highest availability in B phase that you can get. So that's why I'm taking these guys here. Bringing them in the Willy Jeeps. You can bring them in like the... Is it the Universal? Okay, no, that just has the 2-inch carrier. If you want the mortars, not a bad idea at all. I just want to be able to have them cheap and to be able to throw them around, but I would 100% support putting them in the 2-inch carrier as well. If you can use these well, they're absolutely disgustingly good. It's all these small caliber mortars are really strong if used well. If you are not good at microing, this will not help you very much. But if you are, then by God, yeah, you should be taking this. I just don't think I'm at a place in my gameplay right now where these are going to be that helpful. And then B phase, we have another card of Sherman 5 SARs here. What we're not taking, the Otter. There's nothing wrong with this, actually, for 10 points, that little stupid Boise rifle. This thing can be a bit annoying, and it's got radio. You know, it's got recon, very high optics. For 10 points, it is actually solid. I mean, this is well priced for that. It's just hard to use up a slot when you have these better options up here on it. Recon, C-phase, a little late for this, a little much. Scouts, problem is availability. Oh, no, wait. Huh. I'm incorrect. Oh, they're 5 points more. I guess that's, yeah, but I'm going to switch that. I actually want this for availability. You no longer get the 2-inch mortar, though. If you want the 2-inch mortar, you have to take the recce. I'd prefer the numbers just to have these guys to toss around all over the place instead. Apologies for that. Scouts, again, same argument as the other American Scouts. Scout Piat, that's why. Okay, I was looking at the Scout Piat. With the Piat, obviously, if you want your recon to have some AT, you take these guys, but the availability is significantly nerfed for this unit. Staghound, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it comes in really fast. You can pick up some transport snipes at the beginning, but I'm trying to fill out my tank tab and allow my tank tab to bring in like mostly fireflies and leaders and stuff, which means there's really not room for this or the M8. Well, the M8's completely useless in C phase. I would not ever spend a card on this in C phase. There's too much stuff out there. It's too easy to kill these at that point. They have no way to like pop through the line anymore. You lose all the advantage of their early speed boost. So I don't think you would ever take the M8. Infantry tab. There are a whole bunch of options here. You can like slot things out depending on how you feel about different units. I'm taking Assault Pioneers here in A. I like to have CQC. I don't like having nothing going into the woods. I'm taking the Moto Rifles. I don't love this unit. The other options, though, are basically the rifles, like, or the defense group. I absolutely loathe defense groups. I think these units are a step off of completely useless. I know they're not statistically bad. Technically, you're spending 15 points for a double MG. I just don't find these units to do very much. Though you do get higher availability, they're 10 points less. I understand the argument for sure if you want to take those. The multi-rifles do come with a little half track. I say little because it's not a 50 cal, so it's not doing anything crazy strong, but it is nice to have the half track around to kind of help out and hold things in A phase, hold up the enemy, force them to have some sort of AT to stop it. That is kind of helpful. And the rifles also don't come with that sort of thing. And then a card of Rifles Piat. Rifles Piat are solid. They're not an incredible infantry unit, but they get the job done. They're your Commonwealth, like, standard double MG man. It's hard not to take them. You don't really have better options. B phase, taking the Field Engineers, like having these guys are little suicide squads. They will die, but they will throw one grenade. They will throw one grenade, and that's enough. Especially like these guys up against a Pioneer squad or a Sapperty or something. They spend 25 points on theirs. You spend 15 on yours. When both grenades go off, yeah, their unit is probably still alive, but it's at like 2 health and nearly dead. And that's oftentimes worth it, or it can wipe out rifle squads pretty easily. So for 15 points, I think Field Engineers are pretty great, honestly. The second card of Rifle Piats that you can bring, they are in there. Not taking the multi-rifles late. They come with a Browning instead of a Bren. Yes, that is definitely an upgrade, but then they lose one rifle, so their rifle damage goes down. It's just one of those weird units where, like, it doesn't know what is meant to do, right? You have 5 long range weapons, 3 close range weapons. It's not, this is not a very good unit. And it doesn't even come in with like a transport with a weapon. So I don't see an argument for ever using these, to be totally frank. And C-phase, double card of the Kangaroo Rifles. We're going long, baby. This deck is going forever. Now, these are 40 points a pop. So, you know, they're not exactly spammable. You could double vet these if you want to double vet them into that. That is an option. I don't have enough, obviously, because they're already in the Kangaroos. There's 87 infantry right now. For a balanced deck in the quick play queue, that is probably... I wouldn't want to go much lower, honestly. Like, I'm planning to grind, having money less in a quick play queue game. Okay, I'm talking specifically going into that. In a tournament game, this is too many. I would double vet these if I was going into a tournament game. I don't need that many infantry in C-phase for a 50-minute game, but for a what could be an hour game, having the extra is really helpful. Kangaroo Rifles, very good. Big 15-man squad. They take a long time to kill off. The Kangaroo is stupidly annoying with its 50 cal machine gun. They just flood the map, and they're very annoying. Other option, basically, is Rifles late. I do like the Rifles late, and if you want pure numbers, then yeah, you could take an unvetted card of these and have just butt tons of infantry in C-phase. But they're definitely not better than Kangaroo Rifles with a Kangaroo. they're just not. The kangaroo is just really, really strong. Continuing on here, and notice no leaders. That's because most of our leaders are being concentrated over here in the tank tab. In A phase, we have the command steward here. This is for commanding. What I'm using this for is as a leader. I do not really want this to be fighting. Yes, it can do fighting just fine. That is not its true purpose, though. This is like more of a backline leader, too, so I'll put it next to my AA, something like that, my support weapons and stuff. I don't really want to be fighting with this. Also in A phase, we have a Firefly here, Firefly 5C. This is the... I mean, they have multiple variants. This is the 5C one. The other ones can go and only be in C phase. This one can go in A phase, so that's why this one's coming in A phase. Difference, I forget the difference. This one actually is better armor. That's the only difference, right? A little teeny bit slower, but yeah. So the difference is minimal. Having some Firefly in A is nice, gives you the 17 pounder that you need. We don't need any Shermans in A because we have our Recon Shermans in A. So that's kind of filling in the gap here of like having my medium tank. I got plenty of those in the Recon tab. B phase rolling in, we take our Sherman leaders. This is more of a frontline leader, meant to really kind of like be there fighting, supporting your troops, giving out that veterancy. They will die a little more often. That's okay. This is not as much of a sit-back leader. That again, the command steward's the same price as basically an infantry leader, so it doesn't feel bad to leave them back. This is a full medium tank. That's leadership. It's just slapped on. We have, again, more Shermans in the Recon tab to fill in that Sherman gap here in B phase. Then we have the Firefly 1C. It's a Firefly, again, really solid, cost-efficient unit at the end of the day. This can trade up really well to Panthers and stuff, and you're spending 25 points, 30 points less than those, so can be really strong that way. C phase, we have the M475, which is an up-armored Sherman. Hard to complain. It's just a better Sherman for this same exact price. It is C phase locked, which is annoying, but that's why you're seeing them in C phase. But yeah, the extra 10 millimeters of armor does matter. When you're up against other allied divisions, huge difference. It's definitely a really key extra 10 millimeters of armor. Against Axis division, obviously extra armor helps, but for the most part, you can be penned by those things pretty consistently anyway, so it doesn't make a huge difference against Axis divisions, but is, of course, helpful. And finally, a C phase card here of Fireflies. All of these are single vet. If you want to be aggressive, you can double vet. Goes down to 6. Probably still plenty. But again, we're planning for a hour-long quick play game here. Definitely in a tournament game, a lot of this is getting double vetted. Probably this Firefly here definitely going to 4. Definitely going to 4. This would say single, so I have the 2 in A phase. But yeah, definitely double vetting up some of those things. Probably double vet it. Again, 50-minute game, you can double vet a lot more aggressively. When you don't know what's going to happen, I like having my options open. Support tab here. Oh, things we're not taking. A lot more Shermans. Okay, that's what we're not taking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I guess you could take 9 cards of Shermans. If you wanted that, you could do that. I'm just trying to imagine how many. If you non-vetted and only did A, you'd have 45 Shermans. Oh my god, that'd be so stupid. Anyway, continuing on. Support tab, not a lot to write home here. Yeah, there's not a lot here. You have the Vickers. You should take them. They help support your infantry early. The 50 cals are locked to C phase, so they're kind of useless at that point. I'm taking the Commander Curry here. What is this RAM exactly? I didn't even look at this. 57. Okay, so it's just a 57 mil on a tank. That's not like. Obviously, I think it's better than the Command Sherman. I don't know. I wouldn't take these, honestly. Just having it cost 30 points less is about worth it. You definitely need supply. Your artillery is very important. And C phase, you do get the M4 105. It's phase locked to C phase. I'd definitely take it. You still want the 2K HE, even if it's not coming until C phase. Everything else here, pretty useless. I mean, again, 2-inch mortars are great, but I would not spend a slot on them. And they are the short-range ones. These are not the Russian, like, 800-meter ones. These are the everybody else 540 meter, which is a lot less useful. The 2-inch carrier is useful because it can move quickly. These cannot. So I would not take these even if the slots allowed it, to be honest. Wasp, I mean, for 15 points is fine, but definitely not worth the slot here either. Anti-tank tab. Basically a standard Commonwealth anti-tank tab. You don't take the Piats. Most of your infantry are walking around with a Piat, so there's really no reason to take this. I'm not even saying it because I'm saying they're bad. I mean, for 10 points and better availability normal, technically this unit is at a point where it is probably worth taking in certain decks, but the thing with Commonwealth division is half your infantry are walking around Piats anyway, so spending an extra AP, like losing the activation points taking one of these cards is kind of wasteful in my opinion. We are taking a 6-pounder card in A phase. We do need like cheaper AT to work with. B phase, we're taking a 17-pounder card. Why? Because sometimes your opponent has long-range AT and has long-range tanks, and you need some way to safely deal with those in a non-AP way. This is the non-AP way to do it. Then we have 2 cards of Achilles. Achilles, why Achilles when we have Fireflies? Okay, I was actually having this discussion with Emil in the comments and stuff, or he brought it up in the comments. You know, this does have a much faster rate of fire than your average Firefly, so that is nice. It is also 10 to 15 points cheaper, so that's why I'm bringing the Achilles. If you don't feel the need for the Achilles, you could bring another card of 6-pounders or another card of 17-pounders, mix it up a little bit more, and just rely on your Fireflies. That's totally your prerogative, I guess. You could also vet this, and it goes up to 10. I think I might actually do that. A few less Achilles. The A phase one, having only one of these, I have a hard time bringing cards of units that only have a single unit on them. It's just one, other than like artillery or something, or planes. It just, I don't know, it just irks me. It feels so wasteful from an activation point standpoint. You know, that or the unicorn units of like a King Tiger or an IS-2 or an Elephant or something like that. This is definitely not on that level of unit, so I have a hard time only bringing one. It just feels like, why am I spending this whole activation point on a single Achilles? It's not that game-breaking, so that's why I don't. I understand the argument for vetting it, though. Air tab. Excuse me, AA tab. You get a lot of options here. It's not like you really want for any options that you don't have. I might even switch this over, actually. I'll take the armor. I'll spend the extra points and take the armor, honestly. So yeah, the bonus here, basically you're choosing, I mean, you have the Crusader AA, which is a solid AA piece, but you don't really need it here. You have Bofors all over the place. Basically your choices between Bofors that isn't on wheels, Bofors on wheels with no armor, and Bofors with some armor. Obviously, the armor one gives you the most survivability, and for only 10 points more than the non-wheeled Bofors, I just think it's worth it. I really do. I don't really see a reason not to take it. You can vet them at the exact same rate. They have the same availability. I don't really see... I mean, what's ammo-wise? Okay, so the only issue would be ammo, right? These guys come with a lot less ammo than these Bofors. I think it's fine. Your Air Force is pretty solid because it's Commonwealth, so I don't think your opponent's going to be like really going deep on planes because they have to deal with the Typhoons and stuff. So truth be told, I think you can get away with using these. If you're worried about running out of ammo, though, certainly you can bring these. But of course, we do have ammo in the Sport tab. It's not like there is no ammo extra in this deck to reload these. So that is the thought process there. Arty tab. This is actually a really good Arty tab. It's a combo of American and Commonwealth Arty. It's up there. It's very good. You're missing any sort of rocket artillery, but they don't have really access to good versions of that anyway, so you're not missing anything. It's just not here. We're taking an A and B phase card of Sextons. Sextons are incredible because of their 90 rounds. You can go well, like even this A phase Sexton will go well into B phase, if not to get to C phase, while constantly shelling. So really hard to pass that up, honestly. 25-pounders are not like absurdly great arty pieces, but they get the job done. They have a good rate of fire. They do okay damage. They have pretty good accuracy. It definitely gets the job done. We're taking an arty leader here because we definitely do need some infantry leaders, and B phase is nice to get them. And then C phase, bringing the long toms because I like big booms. Now remember, the rate of fire is they show the smoke. They show whatever the best stat is, but that's not always actually the best stat, right? So the actual is 3 rounds a minute. Remember, again, accuracy is not representative of how tight the dispersion is on the actual shells, okay? That's a lie. This is if this thing was firing directly at a unit within 2,000 meter range, it would have 30% accuracy. The actual dispersion, there's no statistics to see on the card. Yes, I agree. That's kind of dumb and very confusing, but generally speaking, gameplays wise, the long tom is rather accurate for a howitzer of this size, making it one of the better arty pieces in the game. It's not one of the best, but it is good. Like this is worth bringing most of the time. Things we're not taking: mortars. The Sextons honestly almost fill that same role. Once again, you look at the mortar and you're like, it fires 17 rounds a minute attack power. You're an idiot. Except it doesn't. Okay, it actually only fires 9, right? With the veterancy, goes up to 11. This thing's firing 8, okay? The difference is not that noticeable in game at the end of the day. And if you were really ballsy, you can vet this up, and now it's at 10. And now it's only 1 round a minute less than the 81mm mortar. And this can stand has radio, and can stand anywhere on the map and reach any target. So the only advantage then to the mortar is that it aims faster. That's literally it. That ends up being the only real advantage of this unit. Dies very easily then on top of it. I just don't see a reason to bring these over Sextons. Same with the 107. Why bring just a regular 25 pounder when you can spend 20 points more, have infinite ammo, maneuverability, and just be better? The 105 of the Americans, I do like this gun. I do think it's quite good. You're bringing in C-phase. C-phase locked, but you get 7 rounds a minute. It's pretty accurate. The caliber is solid for that speed of fire. It's a good gun. I'm not taking it over the Long Tom or the Sexton, but it is a very good weapon all the same. Air tab. I mean, you get some of the best Commonwealth planes in the form of the Typhoons. Typhoons are incredible. Very fast, 640 kilometers an hour, but not too fast. They are very fast, but they're not like, once you push past the 640 into 50, 60, 70, then sometimes these fighters are just too fast to actually shoot a plane down. But the difference is this has 420 mils. It puts out a lot of damage. Like it can one-run a lot of planes. It's just, and it has medium resilience. It's an extremely good fighter. One of the best in game by far. It is expensive, but it's very good. So that's why I'm taking it for fighter. Also in A phase, we're taking the Typhoon with the HE rockets. A lot of times HE rocket planes are kind of meh, like very meh. But the Typhoon rocket plane, on the other hand, being a Typhoon plane, is very good because it's a 150 millimeter rocket. You get 8 of them. This actually does a lot of damage, can one run a lot of different soft targets pretty easily. It is 150 points, so you do have to be a little careful with this. They are very survivable because of their high speed and medium resilience, but losing one of these is pretty devastating, so you have to be very careful. And in B phase, we're bringing the Marauder, 6 227 kilogram bombs. It's not the best loadout. The spread is a little far, so it doesn't get the concentration of damage you often want. But like the availability on the bomber variant of the Typhoon is awful. You get 4 of these to toss around, which is nice. They do have very good resilience, solid speed for a heavy bomber of this type. So, it's a good bomber. It's not bad, but don't expect it to light the world on fire with its greatness or anything. Things we're not taking, recon planes. Nothing wrong with taking a recon plane. Like, honestly, if I was going to take a recon plane, you're either cutting the Typhoon fighter or the Marauder. If you feel if you're playing a division and you're playing a division that's not great in the air, then of course, take the Typhoon fighter out, put in one of these recon planes. Both are fine. The Oster, you get lots of them, and they're cheap to throw around. The F6 doesn't come till B phase, which sucks, so I'd probably go with the Oster, honestly, for early A phase access immediately. Definitely not the P38. I would never, ever take this, especially locked to B phase. It's not maneuverable enough. The damage it outputs is not actually very good. Mosquito Bomber, I actually had this in there at one point, but again, the availability is so bad. And it is 40 points more you get the Typhoon, but the Typhoon is just better. It's just better. So, but again, price, it's a lot more. Or you could cut, if you really want recon plane, cut the Marauder. If you feel like a single card of Typhoon is plenty, you have your already and stuff. So yeah, 4th Canadian, for balanced. All right. I do not love this division on aggressive incomes because, of course, some of your best units are in C phase, specifically infantry wise in the form of the Kangaroo rifles and your 2K HE and your heavy artillery. All are stuck in C phase. So I would not strongly suggest this division as an aggressive income. Maybe a V for victory. Maybe. If you want to be aggressive in the beginning, maybe V for victory. That'd be my push. But I actually do think this division functions quite well in the balanced income type. Very good overall. Not a lot of weaknesses. Like, as you can see, as I went through here, there wasn't much where I was just like, this tab has nothing. The support tab doesn't get its 2K HE till C phase, which can be challenging. The infantry tab is not absolutely phenomenal by any stretch. Like, A and B phase are rough for the infantry. It is not great. You need to use your tanks to support them. But your tank tab is great. Your AT tab is solid. Your RD tab is very good. Your air tab is good. Your recon tab is great. There's really nothing that's truly bad. If you guys enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe, and consider checking out that YouTube membership. Thanks a bunch, everybody, and have a fantastic day.